Hello and welcome to Being Extraordinary. My name is Sarah Kent and I help women to connect to and create their dreams. What do you do when something goes wrong or something really challenging happens? One of the first things I tend to do is to reach out to the people who are close to me, people who can offer support or act as a sounding board. And this helps me to bounce back and weather whatever storm I'm facing. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the value of connections, how good connections help us to be resilient. And I'm going to offer you a few questions at the end for you to reflect or journal on. So you might want to have a pen and paper to hand. Now, if you're a woman and you find this video helpful, you'll find a lot of support and value in my Facebook group, Being Extraordinary. I've dropped a link in the description below this video and I'd love to see you there. Now, there's been lots of studies over the years into resilience, and one set of research back in 2021 by Cross, Dillon, and Greenberg showed that resilience is heavily enabled by strong relationships and connections. Now, their research suggests that we can nurture and build our resilience by developing different kinds of relationships with a wide variety of people. It's these relationships that motivate and support us to simply carry on when times are tough and challenging. When we have a good support network, when we have people we can turn to for advice and for support and for help, people with different and complementary skill sets to our own, and even people we can turn to in a crisis, we are naturally more resilient. Having this good support network is another way of helping ourselves become unstuck, getting different perspectives, and of course, coming up with new ideas and ways to move forward. Now, of course, it does take time and energy to nurture and develop these relationships and connections. But when we do, there are so many benefits. So to help strengthen our resilience, it's not it's important to not only have supportive relationships, but also for them to be with a wide variety of people. So if you want to become more resilient, this is actually an opportunity to take a look at your existing connections and to consider which are the ones which really nourish you and which are the ones which really support you. And also, which are the ones which, quite frankly, are a drain on your energy. Now, if you have any of those, and most of us have at least one or two, then this is a strong signal that you need to have some boundaries in place within that relationship. Only you will know what those boundaries need to be. But a personal coach would help you to explore what boundaries would work for you and how you could maintain them. Of course, there's not just one-on-one relationships. A great way to connect with a wider variety of people is just to join a club or a group that's related to one of your interests or hobbies, or even find a way to volunteer for an organisation that's important to you. It will only take a few minutes on Google or looking at the notice board in your local store to help you discover groups in your area that could offer you support and a sense of purpose when you need it. The last piece I want to talk about today is something that I noticed as I was reading around the theme of connections ahead of speaking to you. And that was the focus of researchers very much oriented towards external relationships and connections. Ultimately, the most important and supportive relationship we can have and develop is the one that we have with ourselves. Now, we can each learn to be our own best friend. And one of the starting places for that is to simply notice how you talk to yourself. Learn to support yourself in the same way that you would support those that love you. Commit to not saying to yourself anything that you would wouldn't say to your own best friend? So, here are a few questions for you to reflect on or journal to discover more about being your own best friend. If you want to write out your answers, of course, just pause the playback um, and just give yourself all the time that you need to reflect on these questions. Okay, so here's the first question. When you're being your own best friend, that's like what? Question number two. And is there anything else about being your own best friend? Question three. And what will others see or hear when you're being your own best friend? Question number four. And what support or resources do you need to become your own best friend? And the last question. What do you know now about being your own best friend? Oh, I'm going to give you a bonus question. Given what you now know, what's one thing that you know that you can do to become a better friend to yourself? Well, I hope you found this helpful today, especially that last section for self reflection. As I mentioned at the beginning, if you're a woman who has a dream and wants to make a difference in and with your life, I invite you to join my Facebook group, Being Extraordinary. There's a link in the description below this video. Just request to join and I'll welcome you personally. And if you join at the moment, there's a free audio download for you as soon as you're in the group. I'm Sarah Kent, and until next time, be extraordinary.